Good morning, everybody. 5th of November 2023 on this nice morning at about 11 o'clock here in Minsk. And I don't have that much to say today. Actually, there's a lot of news, but I don't have that much to say today. It's a Sunday. And luckily, there's not so many people around, so less people to be staring at me and wondering what I'm doing or call the police or something like that. Yeah, I should say something about that. I remember it's happened to me twice, because here in Belarus they're not used to seeing people filming, even though everybody has a cell phone and people film with cell phones. But if it's something that's not a cell phone, everybody thinks there's something wrong. This person must be some kind of a saboteur or a spy or something. So that's why that's happened a few times. And I don't know. Sometimes people think a little bit and they realize, hey, doesn't look so bad. It's like that Paul McCartney song. Then it occurred to me, you couldn't be bad. Magneto was mad. Titanium too. Okay. Like I said, there's always a lot of news, but I, rather than spend a lot of time reading up on news all the time, and then making these videos, and then of course trying to talk more quickly so that a person can fit a lot of this stuff in, a lot of things that are very important, trying to understand what's going on in the world today. I just will probably, if I can restrain myself, probably just try to center on a few small topics. And one of those topics is that the United States is now developing a super duper pooper scooper nuclear bomb. And it's designed apparently specifically to be dropped on Moscow in light of all these tensions, what's going on, with Russia and the United States. And like I heard even Colonel Douglas Macgregor today was something he put out, at least somebody put it up. I think it was with Glenn Deason, and it was put on the internet just less than a day ago, just hours, according to this time. So anyway, it's pretty recent. And the United States, of course, never want to admit defeat in anything. And of course, one of the best ways to do that is to never get defeated, so that you don't have to even contemplate admitting you're defeated. So when you think about this conflict in Ukraine, they want to salvage that. And of course, they probably realized at some point in time that they can't salvage it. They're actually losing. And when you hear about a lot of this stuff, like Ukraine is winning, and I've talked to people from Europe, and they that are informed, by the way, and they said when they go around on the streets and they talk to people, they all think that Ukraine is winning, and maybe even still today. On this date, here we are, 5th of November. And you might think that that's very silly. I like this red coat of this girl coming behind me here. I don't know if you can see it. Anyway, I'll walk down that way. They're going very slow. Like I say, it's a Sunday. Nice coat, anyway. Even though it's a little bit, hits you right in the face because it's red. I'm just tired. Most everybody here has either a black coat or a blue coat. At least men. So, and I'm not into either. I don't mind black coats. I don't want a blue coat. I'm not much into blue, but that doesn't matter. We're talking about the bomb now. Stop sidetracking me. Actually, it was the woman with her red coat. If you can see these crows around here. Ravens. So, I'm getting distracted as usual. But anyway, this bomb is supposed to be designed to be dropped on Moscow, in light of all of these tensions between the two countries. And of course, they realize that Russia has much more superior weaponry than the United States. And I said this quite a while ago, that the United States is lagging behind in Russia when you talk about the effectiveness of the weapons, not in size, the amount of weapons. USA always has a lot more weapons, but of course, the Russian weapons are just better. And the Russian military is far better than the American military. Have to admit that. If you were to take some one unit and then find a comparable, of Russia, and then a comparable unit in the United States, the United States would certainly lose. I think that might even include special forces. I'm not too sure, but that's a different lot. And it's not like the military, like you hear from so many people, Scott Ritter or Douglas McGregor or anybody. It's not the military of the Cold War days in the 1980s. And I think right around the year 1991, of course, the United States military really started to deteriorate. And then you think about all these wars they start, they're always going up against goat herders and school teachers, and pickup trucks and old weapons that have no training, and then they claim to be a great military when they're vanquishing people that are untrained and non-military people just defending their own country. So anyway, this new bomb, it's supposed to have the capacity to obliterate 300,000 people immediately when it's dropped. And of course, Moscow is a city of like 13 million. So that does not mean that they'll kill them all at one time. But then I think there's an article in Newsweek, and they're talking about this bomb. And of course, they don't quite understand themselves. I don't know. There weren't experts writing about this, and we all know what happened in Hiroshima. And then, for more than a generation, people are still suffering from the effects of a bomb like that. So obliterating 300,000 people just immediately, and you can all guess, immediately when you hear this, that there's going to be a lot of people dying from radiation poisoning, after that. And in how much time? Maybe years. Because the area is radioactive as well. So it's not just the effects of radiation that you didn't get killed by the blast immediately. So this, and look at this stuff from depleted uranium. People still dying and sick, very sick today, from the United States and Great Britain's use of depleted uranium all over. Very nasty stuff. Here's a grove of trees here. The Belarusians call them Russian trees. I guess they're birch or something. Nice soil here. Looks like they brought it in from somewhere, probably to reseed. Oh, nice light. Look at this. Yes, 13 million people, and of course there's designing a bomb to kill a bunch of people. I mean, offensively, not defensively, offensively. See, the United States is involved. They don't have they shouldn't call it a Department of Defense. They should call it a Department of Offense, because everything that the United States does is offensively. They provoke conflicts, just like they did in Ukraine. And anyone that's out there knows this. It's just those people that are, I think somebody came up with some sort of a writing the other day, and they talked about those that are awakened and those that are not awakened. And of course, the people watching this are awakened people, know what's really going on. And I don't even know exactly when I became awakened. It was sometime after 9/11, of course. I think it was around 2002 when you find out that there was, I think one of the most shocking things I remember from back in those days was when the Department of Homeland Security, which at that time was run by an Israeli, of course, I guess it was Michael Chertoff, and he had sent some of his goons to harass and beat up and injure a reporter that dared to say that it's very possible that the United States is involved in 9/11. The reporter's name was Christopher Bolin. He was an investigative reporter. And so, of course, I guess they kicked his door in, apparently, or something like that. And they beat him up in front of his wife and children, screaming, and broke his arm and tasered him and all that sort of stuff, just to suggest that it's very possible the United States was involved in 9/11. And I think there's probably other people that maybe have suggested it, but this guy had come up with a lot of evidence, or whether it's circumstantial or otherwise, that the United States could have been involved in that. God forbid, huh? Trying to find out how to walk here. I'll walk down this way. But maybe one reason for them, the United States, to develop this bomb is to send a message to the United States that the U.S. is willing to obliterate humanity, which is what would happen. You know, of course, even developing this bomb shows that they're willing to do that, because it's obviously a provocation. The United States is the king of provocations, as you all know. Just right up there with Israel. And Israel has been provoking the Palestinian people, not just Hamas, all the Palestinian people for many decades. You can go back at least 50 years, maybe 70 years. A lot of people can go back to 120 years. But those were very few, and of course, the crowd has grown. And look at what they did in Ukraine. There was a small group, you know, those people from Lvov that were real Nazis, and it's spread throughout all of Ukraine. And I'm not saying every Ukrainian, I'm just saying that ideology has spread throughout Ukraine to the fact that there was millions of them. I don't know, maybe some of them have left, maybe some of them have perished. And then not only in just Ukraine, of course, the Baltic states and Poland, and then you have those that are abhorred in Poland. It's abhorrent to them to know that the Ukrainians had massacred a lot of their people, but yet they themselves follow the same ideology of those they believe to abhor that were responsible for the demise of their ancestors. So, like I was saying in one of my other videos, if it looks like a duck and walks like a duck and quacks like a duck, must be a duck. Sometimes you have to look in the mirror. If you look at Benjamin Netanyahu, you know, I can imagine the guy going around, "What the duck? I don't know, the master race." Because that's exactly what Benjamin Netanyahu stands for. Exactly what he stands for. The master race. He just needs to get a little mustache on his upper lip over there. Of course, that would be abhorrent if he heard that I said that. Oh gosh, a black cat crossed my path. Uh-oh. See what happens. There's an old brick building I wanted to go. I just noticed and I want to see. Let's see this baby. Look at what's up. Hey. Boy, you have pretty orange eyes. What you doing there? I can't get any closer to see your beautiful orange eyes. Get to see. If you all don't mind, let me shut this off and see if I can feed this cat a little bit. Okay. There he is eating. I don't know if you can see. Black cat, black background. Oh, there he goes. Camera shy. I don't know if you can see him in the film. He's stepped away from the food. Okay. Yes. Well, anyway, they said that this bomb that the United States is developing, they said that the destructive power of this bomb is like 24 Hiroshimas. So, I don't know what Russia probably has some very powerful bombs. I know Russia has some bombs that I guess they branches off into various other bombs and goes their own separate ways. And I think all of them can go to specific targets. So that's pretty destructive as well, but of course they were forced into it. Now the USA is the one that actually starts all these things. Oh no, people watching me here. Interesting building though. Okay. Probably somebody call the cops on me. Okay. So the USA, I guess what they're doing here is they are trying to let Russia know that they're the masters of the universe. This is the building I wanted to see. just interesting. Do some renovation on this baby, that would look nice, in my opinion. Love brick buildings like this. Just thought I would show it to you. Wandering around, voyage of discovery. Probably nice places inside there. Away from the busy roads. It's like there's a path down that way. Between houses, let me see. What if I should go this way? What if I'm allowed? I should try to, believe it or not, that says Gaza. Maybe it says I'm not supposed to go there. I don't know every Russian word. Okay, so. And lately, if you're watching the news, you know, you see all this stuff going on in the Middle East. And these people watching me here, I didn't want to be talking. Well, like I said, you see all this stuff going on in the Middle East, and as you see, public opinion in the world is all protesting against the violence and the hatred and the destruction of Israel. And then you hear a lot of these people, Nikki Haley or even Donald Trump, and a lot of these people, they're all fully on board with this, of the massacre and even the genocide of these Palestinian people. You know, it's just amazing as far as I'm concerned. And here, like I said, I thought that Trump was actually, you know, maybe a decent guy. Maybe he's on the side of humanity, but apparently he's not. He's given the hint without saying the words, but he's given the hint that he is all for this extermination of Palestinians. And he doesn't like Muslims anyway. He's been showing that all the time. He's never had any compassion towards them, and he's never done anything that favors them. He always favors Israel when it comes to Palestine, so you all see that. But like I said, Joe Biden, he's pretending like he's compassionate and, oh, you know, Israel's got to stop doing this and stop, you know, being a little bit more proportionate. And then you hear these signals coming out that he, not that he's against it, but he just wants this to end in a couple of weeks, you know, and it's apparently telling Israel, you know, increase this stuff. And Israel doesn't really want to, because if they increase it too much and go, you know, too far too fast, there is a fear that Hezbollah might enter fully into this war rather than these little skirmishes what they're having. And then maybe even Iran and Turkey, and there's even Algeria and Tunisia and virtually all these Muslim countries. Of course, you kind of have to be on board with whatever the other Muslim nations are saying, or else you're maybe a traitor to Islam. I don't know. Jordan, a lot of countries are cutting off diplomatic relations with Russia. So whatever, you know, I think I came to a wrong place here. Looks like I came to a military base, so I have to be careful. I don't know. Looks like nobody's here at the moment. Maybe this is just for reserves. So what kind of a vehicle that is, I don't know. I shouldn't be lifting this up like I am right now. It's normally a no-no. Looks like a kind of somewhat large place for nobody to be around here. Maybe this is the back door of some military post, and I'm probably not supposed to be filming, as long as I don't get in any kind of a trouble. But along with that, you know, they're trying to make it look like Biden and Netanyahu are at odds against each other, and who's going to go first? I think I've heard somebody say that. Who's going to be compelled out of office first, Biden or Netanyahu? Oh, that's just a bunch of bull. Y'all know that's a bunch of bull. You know, these people are just very deceptive. It's done just for appearances. Biden is only acting like that because there's an election coming and he sees that all these people are against it, and Now, of course, he doesn't want to lose that much support, so he has to act like he's the compassionate, humanistic type of guy. But look at Biden's past. When has he ever been humanistic? Never at all. What about the Ukrainians? What about when all those people in Donbass, thousands of those people were killed by the Ukrainians? They were bombed, innocent civilians, just bombing them for what, how many years was that? 8 years before the special military operation started? He wasn't against that. Most all of the West wasn't against that. You don't think he didn't know that stuff was going on? Actually, Ukraine is Joe Biden's project. That's where he gets his money. A lot of his money. That's his family money, as you all know. Family business. Everybody was saying that Joe Biden is the president of Ukraine. Joe Biden runs Ukraine. He runs Zelensky. It's almost like Biden property, owned by Joe Biden. He is the man for Ukraine. And he even brags about it, You've heard him brag about it. I told them to fire that guy, and what did he say? Son of a bitch, they fired him, just like I ordered them to do. You know that. So, anyway, I should say for you to push that subscribe button to everybody. I never really do that. I had lost 1 subscriber, and then I gained 3, so that was pretty good. I think I've lost maybe 4 subscribers since I started, but it doesn't mean that people are watching these videos. But I say things are going to be changing pretty soon here, and it was like a little bit of a delay, and it's not going to happen by, this coming week, necessarily by Friday, when we're going to start doing live streams and start doing things together. Not on this channel necessarily, but myself, and then I'll be maybe doing less with this channel. I'm going to have my hands full with so many other things going on. So that's what that's all about. So let's keep going. I don't have that much more here, though. I just mostly want to say about that is that Joe Biden has always been pro-war. He's looked at as a neocon. He's not quite as extreme as Lindsey Graham, who is in favor of all wars and all killing, no matter who it is. He would probably be in favor of a war against Israel. I mean, any time where there's bombs, I guess you can almost bet that old Lindsey Graham is heavily invested in the military-industrial complex. So whenever there's wars going on, bombs are made, I guess he probably makes money. There's a lot of people in Congress that are like that. So this is all just a big racket. Wait, I've heard that before. Smedley Butler, War is a Racket. I've never read it, but that's all true. If you don't know who Smedley Butler is, I guess he's the most decorated war hero in U.S. history. And he was a general during the time of the early 1900s, and he said, for the most part, that he was just a prostitute for the U.S. government and corporations. For the government, the military is just a prostitute for the corporations. In other words, that's called fascism. So that lets you know that there's been fascism for a much longer period of time. And he was even at one point in time, supposedly, at least according to him, but and probably other people, that he was commissioned by the Bush family to kill President Roosevelt. And then he exposed it. And of course, the Bush family, I think you're talking about George Prescott Bush, which was the grandfather, I believe, of G.W. Bush. And of course, it didn't happen. And George Prescott Bush was also a buddy of Adolf Hitler. So, what a tangled web we weave when you hear about this sort of thing. So, and in most of the cases, we were wondering, I'll tell you what, this is still that military base, apparently. I see soldiers walking around because you see the barbed wire and the long fence going around this place. I'm not supposed to be filming these things. I don't think there's anything really that interesting to film there because there's no soldiers around here. It's not like they're all, oh, it looks like actually a nice post. Look at the nice pine trees up there. I'd love to go look around in there, but like I said, I probably not supposed to, and I wouldn't be allowed to. But let's talk about what this is all about. And I've always been wondering, you see all of this mad, crazy stuff going on, and then you go on to the next thing, as everybody says, what's the latest thing? It was COVID, and then you had Ukraine, and now everybody, at the ending of COVID, Ukraine popped up, and now now that everybody realizes that Ukraine is lost, then Israel pops up. It's the latest thing. So one of the things you might have to ask yourself is, what's the next latest thing that's going to be coming up? And what is the point of all this? What is the point of all this latest thing stuff going on here? And the only thing that I can really come up with, that I can see that what do they say, the thing that joins them all together, what do they all have in common is, and it's strange, and all these people, the masters of the universe included, and not even all of them, but of course they're all a part of this, whether they know it or not, but I guess this is all just population reduction. As you know, that Klaus Schwab, at least he comes right out and says it. We will reduce the world's population, we will use COVID, you will own nothing, and be happy and eat the bugs. And we will own everything. So there's old Klausy Schwab. Looks like a lot of construction going on here. I don't know where. I think looks like this building was just renovated, as you see. These guys are lucky. Look at there. Looks like they're doing the entire yard. And they put a bunch of, I wonder which company did this. The one that did ours didn't do this stuff. Looks like nice soils they put out here. Are they going to put grass? They're actually a little bit late, you know. I think you're supposed to seed the grass at around September. I don't think that there's any grass seeds in here. So they might end up getting weeds. Like I say, a lot of these old apartment buildings, and they get renovated in time. See, this one, it looks like it's going to be due to get renovated at some point in time. I've seen some that are actually a little bit worse shape than this, and they're not renovated. Look at this old door. No, this one's actually going to get new doors. If this is an entry door, it must be. This is a door here to when you have a place in the cellar. I guess everybody gets a lock. And I don't know. Oh yeah, there's the keypad right here to get in. And it looks like, and see what they do is they put like a plaque thing right here where they put up these advertisements and stuff, but this one doesn't have it. So somebody's been screwing up all over the door. Looks like crap, doesn't it? With all these things that were glued on at one point in time. And so this one's probably going to get renovated before we know it, very soon. I see that a lot of these, looks like that one over there has terrible doors. Let me see this. I'll tell you, let's go over to this new one over here, the one that's been renovated. And we'll see what kind of a door it has. I can see over there. They're nice, but of course it looks like this little thing where you can tape on the advertisements, you know, for windows, you know, new windows and stuff. That came later in ours. It didn't come right after the building was renovated. And see, this one looks like they might have just cleaned it and painted the door. I don't know. And of course they didn't put a placard here for them to put on advertisements. So you're learning a few little things about how things are done here in Belarus, I guess. So, and looks like the steps were all, of course, newly done, and this thing here looks like it was probably done not long ago, less than a year ago. Okay, so population reduction. And Bill Gates, as you know, apparently they already have this fake meat coming out. You know, Bill Gates, of course, he's virtually addicted to beef. As I've probably mentioned before, I come from the same town as Bill Gates, and my cousin, in the early years, my cousin used to eat breakfast with Bill Gates at Burger King. Now, Bill Gates, he's known to really love Burger King, and he eats hamburgers, I think even in the morning for breakfast. So he had a Burger King built right across from Microsoft. Right next door to the Burger King is where my cousin lived. This is the rich part of the family, and they had a condominium there. You know, I guess you call it my uncle. He's got a number of condominiums in Washington State, some in Puget Sound on some of the islands, and he had a house once, and the coach of the Seattle Sonics wanted to buy that house, and I don't know, he didn't sell it, and some years later, the whole area was cleared out and there's just a bunch of big apartment buildings there now. So that was Bill Russell. At that time was the coach of the Seattle Sonics. Long time ago, I guess. I think that's when Lenny Wilkens, before he became the coach, Lenny Wilkens was a player. A lot of you probably aren't interested in that. I'm not really into sports either. I just happen to remember these things. Thought I would throw it out there. And my cousin, of course, he was also, my uncle, he was invested in horses as well. He owned a horse called Kimosahi, which was a colt of Kimosabi, which was the national champion Arabian horse. And one of the owners was Bo Derek, who was an actress in those days, I guess in the star of the movie called 10 with, I can't remember who was there. What was there? I think it was her husband. He wanted to say Dudley Moore. I don't really know. But anyway, her husband, I think her husband made the movie. Anyway, she was part owner of the horse. I think there was 8 owners, and my uncle was one, and I keep wanting to say Brooke Shields, and what's her name? I just said her name, I think, didn't I? Bo Derek. Bo Derek was one of the owners as well. So anyway, that's just no big deal. Thought I would throw it out. It's kind of like bragging, isn't it? So you can get my autograph. Just $100. It's right around now. I'm giving a special, so just get in touch with me, and the normal price is $500. So this is a good price, and it's yeah, you can't beat that right now. You can't beat that. $100 for an autograph, and that is going to run out very soon, within the next month. So. Anyway, people, that's about all I have for right now, and sorry to be rambling a lot today, because this is Sunday, and I'm kind of relaxed, and it may not be a very long video anyway, and you can just hopefully listen. And so thanks for joining me, and I'll see you on the next one. Hopefully nothing really bad happens in the world. So goodbye. Thanks again.